Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric on our continuing series on the Sega Dreamcast, and today we're taking a look at Space Channel 5. I've either already shown you guys Rez at this point in time, or I'm going to be showing you Rez shortly, but Space Channel 5 is the yin to Rez's yang, which is to say they are both very similar in concept, but they are totally different when you're actually playing them. Before we get too far involved though, if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined, we got a Patreon link down there as well if you want to support the channel. But I bought Space Channel 5 when it came out, and it is the first and only music rhythm game I've ever really enjoyed playing. I played Parappa the Rapper, I played Jammer Lammy, or I think I pronounced that right, and they were always semi-interesting, but I could never really get too into them. For some reason, I don't know if it was just the graphics or the music or the fact that it was on the Dreamcast, but Space Channel 5 is a game that I have always loved to play, and I always wanted to really show it to you guys as another unique experience on the Dreamcast. Now, spoiler alert right off the top, this is a very difficult capture to get because I'm using a VGA box going through an upscaler, which means there is a little bit of inherent lag. In a music rhythm game, when button inputs need to be almost perfect, that can lead to not being able to play the game as well. This is the type of game you either want to play on a CRT or you want to emulate. Playing this on an LCD, even if the LCD is just doing the upscaling for you, can make the game a little bit harder to play. It's not to say it's impossible, it's just to say that you're going to be playing it on hard mode the entire time. But just like Rez, the game concept is super simple, yet when you're actually playing it, it can get really difficult. But when you're just sitting here, all you're doing is being told what you're supposed to be doing. You have just a few commands, up, down, left, and right, and shoot. At the top left-hand corner there, you have hearts, and that's just how you're doing. And your view rating at the bottom right, if that goes to 0, you're not going to be able to complete the level. And you have to be able to finish the level with a certain percentage rating, or else you have to redo it again. It's the most simple premise possible. Just listen to what's being told for you to do and replicate it. It's basically like playing a game of Simon, except you're in this crazy outer space universe where you're a space reporter covering an alien invasion, which sounds really strange at, first glance. It doesn't make sense as far as a game is concerned, but when you play it, you will definitely fall in love with it. And the story behind this is that United Game Artists, which may have had a different name once they got folded into Sega by that point in time, was just told to make a game that would have mass market appeal. Now, I can't say that I know if Space Channel 5 would be that game. This is definitely feeling really niche to me, but I could see how they thought this would be something that appeals to everybody. Kids, adults, the parents that buy the consoles for their children. This kind of has like a Wii Sports feel to it in the way that it's intended to be for everybody. But it's so colorful and so crazy and so wild that I feel like it's actually making itself a niche game no matter what you do. And you'll see here, pushing the button combinations to aim is easier, but there's something about the A button with an upscaler that can just be a little bit tricky. So if you've never played this game before, emulate it. I'll leave a link as to how to do it below because that doesn't add in any extra lag, or if you keep a CRT around like me, that is 100% how you're going to want to play the game. But you'll see now as I'm performing worse, as we walk forward, we're indicating that with our body. Ooh la la looks sad about it, and I love that that's all been incorporated into it. There is a sequel to this, Space Channel 5, Part 2, and that is as good, if not slightly better, and it weirdly has Michael Jackson in it, and that's just a kind of random aside, but no matter what game you start with, you're definitely going to enjoy either one of them. What I want to let you do now is just listen to a little bit of the music, because it is just catchy and super fun and hypnotic, and I'll be back in about like 45 seconds to talk a little bit more about Space Channel 5. But enjoy!
Right, left, shoot, shoot, shoot. I did it!
That was smooth, baby. Take it to the control tower.
Roger.
Eyes open, baby. Use the A button beam when they say Q.
Kick, kick, kick. Here we go. Shoot.
And again, like I said, The lag with the upscaler is just really difficult to deal with, and that's kind of unfortunate for all music rhythm games. I tried to get this into my PVM and take an RGB signal out, but I could not maintain sync, and it may just have to be with that Toro VGA box and having a little bit of difficulties dealing with that in this game, because the Dreamcast likes to do strange things with VGA signals, but unfortunately that just is what it is. So like I said, it's not the best gameplay you've ever seen, but the game is still so spectacular I wanted to show it to you, because again, this isn't a video series on the best games for the Dreamcast. It's a video series about my favorite games for the Dreamcast. Some of these games may show up on the greatest games of all time for the system list, and some may never appear before, but I didn't want to cover just that classic top 10 list if you Google best Dreamcast games of all time. But I just miss these innovative games from Sega, which isn't to say that Sega's not still putting out some semi-interesting things, but during the Dreamcast era, they were just experimenting with pretty much everything, and it's one of my favorite eras of Sega. Of course, you have the Genesis, and you have all that arcade history that they have, but the Dreamcast kind of really felt like Sega doing exactly what they wanted to do, and in some ways, the Dreamcast's failing caused them to really try strange and new things that end up giving them a great legacy for their last console, and Space Channel 5 is definitely one of those games. But you'll see again, we're not doing too well, and just listen to the music again because it does change, and I'll be right back.
The aliens should be around here somewhere. Use the A button beam to get them.
All right. Let's shoot. Back. Kick. Back. Kick. Right. Left. This just isn't my day.
What are you doing? Hey, who the heck is that?
I just love how the music gets out of tune there. All the instruments sound a little bit weird, and now you're getting another mechanic in. You have another channel reporter, Pudding, and that's going to be Ooh La La's rival. And there is a decent amount of story in this game. It isn't just a music rhythm game. You're going to get enough content as far as the narrative's concerned to be interested in it, and Pudding is going to keep showing up throughout the game. And even saying these things, Ooh La La and Pudding, they don't really make much sense when I say them out loud. You just have to play the game and really appreciate it, because this was Sega just trying what they could to make the Dreamcast a hit and to sell more games. They weren't just putting out another Sonic game or another sports game or another racing game. They were really trying to do really odd things with Dreamcast, whether it's this, whether it's Rez, whether it's Seaman, Cosmic Smash. They were always innovating and trying to figure out what might be the next new thing, and I really miss that about the Dreamcast and about Sega, and that's why I continually play my Dreamcast almost weekly, even it's been like, God, 22 years since it released. And you'll see again, we had a little bit of an issue playing there, and now we're just down at 6%. We need to clear this level with 10% or better, and as the game goes on, that view rating goes higher and higher, so you need to be getting better and better at the game. And unfortunately, I just wasn't having it today, and that is down to that lag. But I just wanted to show you guys the beginning level of this game again, because it opens in such an amazing way that it instantaneously hooks you into wanting to play it more and more and get better and better at it. And as we move on to the boss battle here, the game definitely does a good job of incorporating more game-style elements into it. It's not just always a music rhythm game. Of course, rhythm is going to play a big mechanic in the whole thing, but now we have a boss coming up. But again, visually, I just love how this game looks. You have these pre-rendered backgrounds. It's almost like playing a Resident Evil music rhythm game, because the only polygons you're going to see on screen are the characters. Everything else is pre-rendered. It looks like a video playing. But it just has a really nice look to it. It holds up super well, even being 20 years old at this point in time, and now we're fighting hypnotized robot invader Coco Tapioca. You can't make that stuff up, but I mean, I guess he kind of does look like a tapioca. He looks like he might be made out of jelly. And weirdly, the boss is easier to actually battle than the normal enemies in the first level. I'm not sure if it's a coding thing, but basically the amount of time you have for button input on the boss becomes easier than the timing that you have with the normal enemies. And this is the type of game, the more you play it, the better you're going to get at it, because it is exactly the same every single time. So you can memorize this game and know what's coming before it happens. And I do love that about it. It's a game that you can continually get better at. In some ways, and I know it has nothing to do with the genre, but to me it's like a shmup, because those are all pattern memorized based games, and something like Space Channel 5 being a music rhythm game has that same memorization mechanic in it that I really like and appreciate about a game. So the nice thing is, if you do fail the first level, it's only 7 more minutes to get back to where you started from, so you're not losing 30-40 minutes of progress each time. And because the game is so colorful, it is so much fun to play, it really is just something that failing isn't that big of a deal. This isn't like a Dark Souls where if you die, you can lose 45 minutes to an hour of progress and really wonder, do I want to keep playing it or do I want to come back to it a different day? This is something that the minute you fail, you're instantaneously hitting the start button to continue. And that's the best thing to say about it, other than the fact that it is just wholly weird. We have that giant tapioca boss just in front of us while we have these yellow kind of like can rocket dancers, and we have to shoot them as we go along. It's like nothing you've ever played before, and if you've never played it, just like I say with Rez, whether I've shown it to you already or if I'm going to show it to you soon, this is something that if you're a fan of my channel, if there's like 1 or 2 games that I tell you to go play that you try to play, definitely make Space Channel 5 one of them, because it is just that type of game. You're never really going to play anything like it before, and you're never going to play anything like it since. And there are remasters of this game as well. I think it's even on Steam. But if you have a Dreamcast, no matter how you play it, GDEMU, you find an ISO file, you buy an original copy, it's 100% worth your time checking out. But short of that, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love chatting with you guys. Old Tapioca there is freaking out because we have beaten him, but we missed, I think, by 2%, so we have to do the whole level over again. But I will be back next Tuesday with another episode in the Dreamcast video series, another game that I love on Dreamcast, and I will have videos on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday as well. Like I said earlier, if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, or else you might end up like Tapioca there and miss the next video. But again, if you've never played Space Channel 5, if you've never heard of it before, just go and play it after this video if you can. Short of that, thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.